Alright, today we are going to try to bisect a Cannondale Evo frame. Frame has a crack in it, a couple cracks in it that are going to keep it too compromised to reliably repair. So I take a Dremel with a diamond cutting wheel, and I've got most of it taped off to show my cut lines. I'm going to stitch along that tape to get a line for the final cut. Got some water to keep the dust down, got a respirator, got some safety glasses, so personal protection is covered. Let's see how this does. Alright, in my typical Cavalier fashion, I abandoned the stitching very quickly because it was cutting in a pretty straight line without too much difficulty. So I've got most of it cut through. There remains a couple sections that are not, but it's still remarkably strong. It's cut all the way through in the top tube, and there's some deflection in the top tube, but not a lot. And the seat tube's very strong. I still have to go through the bosses for the water bottle cages, so that's going to weaken it a bit, and I'm still missing a little bit of a section in the bottom bracket. The bottom bracket was very thick as well. Yeah, there's still some more cutting, so I'm going to have to get in there with a hacksaw to get those things. So we are making progress, but not there yet. Alright, we have half separation. It took a little bit of Sawzall and popped it right off. So see some interesting stuff here. Let me get this cleaned up and the respirator off and all that kind of good stuff, and we will take a look. Alright, we have a bisected Cannondale Evo frame, and let's take a look at the layup. Pretty straightforward. It really was surprising how standard the manufacturing of it is when you start to look at the details. You got the down tube, which you can see. Focusing? Are we doing a good job of focusing? or not. Is that better? You've got the head tube assembly, and the down tube fits right into it. Actually, a really good joint. It's hard to see how they laid that up. The other side of the down tube is very easy to see how they did it. It's just some epoxy, and looks like they coated the bottom bracket assembly and shoved the down tube on with a big heap and glob of industrial epoxy, and they let it set. It looks pretty good. There's a couple voids as you can see there, but when you look at the joint, they've got good penetration all the way down and through. Good solid joint there. The interesting thing is when you look at the top tube, I'm sorry, the seat tube, it goes into the bottom bracket assembly much neater. You don't have that that big glob of epoxy, but you do see the sidewalls flared out where you've got two different pieces coming together. But when we go down here and we take a look inside, I don't know if we can get a inside. Let me get a light in there. Hold on. All right, let's try this again with a little bit of light. If we take a look at where the seat stay matches up to the seat tube, you can see there's a big glob of epoxy there, but it's different. Try to not blow it out. That red has a give to it. You can put your fingernail in it and it'll flex. Unlike the gray epoxy right below it that you see here, that is just a solid, hard industrial epoxy. The red is not, so there is some ability to flex at the connection for the seat stay. And if you look real closely, you can see that same type of, maybe better there, I don't know which, we'll see after. There is a red bit of that same epoxy right here where the chainstay is coming to meet the bottom bracket assembly as well. So they are allowing for some flex in what they are using in their adhesives. So it'd be interesting to see. That made me wonder. I'm not going to tear this down any further, but I wonder if their paint has some type of flex agent to it, because this joint, the way they put it together with the flexible epoxy there, is going to have some flex to it. And I just wonder, the paint was really solid when I cut this. There was no chipping or flaking, and I just wonder if they had some flex agent added to it to allow for that flex without making a mess of the paint. You see, you got a little bit extra material where the seat post goes down. The layup of the bottle holder mounts is a little bit interesting. You've got some just a standard weave there, not a twill or anything. Standard weave, a couple layers. There's only one showing on the that we see on the seat tube. Same thing with the second one on the seat tube. While we're at the seat tube, we'll take a look at this as well. We had 3 rivets from the derailleur hanger, and the way they went with that, it's a stranded carbon fiber that they're using there, and it actually, when they did the riveting, they did break some of the fibers there that are inside and loose. I don't think that'll be a problem long term, but coincidentally, there was a tiny little bit of a crack right above that hanger that I was watching. It never developed, but I just wonder if it came from their riveting of the derailleur hanger. Now, if we take a look at the way the bottle cage holders for the down tube are laid up, they're completely different. You have some patches, but they are set up in about 30-degree blocks. There's a patch here, there's a patch here, there's a patch here. They are a non-directional carbon, which is the way the rest of the down tube is. The rest of the down tube is a non-directional carbon. So there's an interesting difference there. You can see there's a huge difference in thickness between the two on the bosses for the bottle cage. Here you've got, let's see, a thickness of, there's no way to get a real accurate measurement. It's ballpark, but after the buildup, it's 0.14 inches on the top tube, or on the down tube, and on the seat tube 0.63. So half the thickness on the seat tube. So I don't know, I'm not a bike engineer, I don't know why there's so much more thickness here on the down tube than the seat tube, but there it is. You can see the layup marks, the tape from the layup. Looks like the down tube and top tube were both laid up separately with an inflatable bladder. You can see some ridges going through where the bladder was inflated when they formed the tubes. The seat tube, you don't see that so much. I don't know exactly how they did that, but anyway, I think that's about it from this one. I'm not going to take this apart any further. If there's anything in particular you want to see, let me know. We can see a little bit on looking at the head tube assembly. We've got a straight patch there that is not on the non-drive side, but just a patch of carbon there. CDR01-540 laid into it. They're manufacturing internal numbers. You can see they've got internal stickering to track the production as they go through as well. The cable brackets, we also got those riveted in there. This was not a high mod frame. The cables were externally ran. I think that's about it.